with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. We're about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks into the NBA season. I'm super excited. Doing lots of NBA content, doing lots of basketball card content. I appreciate you guys watching the Cajun Cardboard channel. If this is your first time watching the channel, I've got a treat for you today. I've released a video already, my 15 best duos in the Western Conference. Not bigs and littles, not point guards and bigs. You know, the two best players on each team. If you just looked at those two players, which teams in the West had the best 15? I've already released that video. Hopefully you guys checked it out. If you're watching this and you haven't seen that, just tuck it away in your memory bank. Go back and find it. Today we're talking about the 15 best duos in the East, and I've ranked them 15 through 1. This was not easy, and in fact, it caused anxiety. So don't flame me in the comments. It's a lot easier to do this stuff in your head and second guess people after the fact than it is to put this together. Again, I could be convinced to move some people here and there, but I want to hear in the comments who I got right, who I got wrong, what you think. I know a lot of it's going to be hyper-focused on the top 1, 2, 3, or 4, something like that, but what caused me anxiety is like the middle of the pack here. I'm pretty confident in my 1, 2, and 3. Watch till the end of the video. You'll see what I mean. Again, I'm not the most objective person when it comes to a particular team in the Eastern Conference and a particular player on that team. So it might have crept into my decision making, but I'll let you guys decipher whether or not I was as objective as I could be. I will definitely substantiate my choices, and we'll talk about the cards. I've got some real cool cards for each of these players in each one of these. So we're looking at 15 different teams, 15 duos, 30 cards for each. I didn't put any real thought into which cards I put up, just cards that I thought either reflected what these players are about or that look really cool, so we can talk about the cards as well. Let me get you started all the way back over here. That is the screw up. Here we go. All right, there it is. My 15 best duos in the East, ranked in order. Of course, I'm not going to start with number 1. I'm going to start with number 15 on the list. And number 15 on the list is none other than, I'm sorry, Pistons fans. I know you guys are absolutely at, cloud 9 right now, super excited, but right now they just don't have enough experience. I've got the Detroit Pistons with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. I think that is the clear duo. I've got Bogdanovic down there, but I'm already seeing, and again, he got off to a really good start, actually, believe it or not. I know that because I play fantasy basketball. I know we talk about that on my channel all the time. I still think Jaden Ivey's the beta, and I think clearly, obviously, Cade Cunningham is the alpha, and Pistons fans are hoping he's a Doncic-like player who develops, along the same lines as Doncic. Maybe not quite to that preposterous extent that Doncic has with 3 first-team All-NBAs, but I think Cade Cunningham is a potential All-NBA type of player at some point in the relatively near future. Jaden Ivey, I don't know. He's electric. He's explosive. He can jump. He can move. He looks the part, but you know what? So did Antonio Daniels, and he is now most known for being an announcer for the Pelicans games. Jaden's got to learn how to shoot the basketball. And again, I'm not comparing Jaden Ivey to Antonio Daniels. I'm simply stating we've seen a lot of guys come into the league who were super bouncy, super athletic, very flashy. I want to see if there's more substance here. I want to see if Jaden Ivey's shot develops, because if he does develop a legitimate perimeter shot, and that comes with time, right? We see people usually tend to become better shooters throughout their NBA career. Gary Payton, Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Derrick Rose. I mean, go down the list, dude. I mean, there's, people that are on the all-time three-point list that were absolutely horrific shooters when they entered the NBA. Let's see if Jaden Ivey can start to raise his percentages as the game slows down and he figures out his rookie season. So Cade Cunningham and Jade are here. I've got Cade's blue prism pulled up from 2021. And I've got Jaden Ivey's Panini Instant card. That's a pretty interesting little product. I don't mess with it, but Panini will make these instant cards, when an event happens or something like that. They'll release it. I think they're released direct from the Panini website. You go on there and they'll print as many as are requested. And so I've got Adam Silver and Jaden Ivey. I do like that slick look. Nice, simple, nice big chain. Looks good. Looks good on draft night. So he looked great on draft night. Number 14 on our list. I don't want to spend too much time on these bottom feeders, but this one gets you pretty excited. Obviously, PAOLO BANCHERO doesn't have too many cards out there. So I have got his 2022 Panini The National red, serial number to 99. Again, he's in his Duke uniform. We know he's on the Magic. He's with Franz Wagner, who tore it up in Eurobasket and looked really good for that German team. He is a significantly better player than his brother, who is a goon. If you guys watch hockey, I don't, but I know the term goon and what it means in hockey. His brother is a goon, a guy that takes hard fouls, a guy that's not the greatest basketball player. He's a big, slow plotter, but Franz shows some serious potential, shows some serious signs of growth. He's got a tremendous skill set. People forget he's 6'10". He's the same height as Banchero. Obviously, Banchero is built like the Incredible Hulk. People are asking about player comps for Banchero, and the other day, one of my Jordan collector friends mentioned Larry Johnson. That's not a good comp. Banchero's significantly taller than Larry Johnson. He's 4 inches taller than Larry Johnson, who was 6'6", 250. Banchero's 6'10", 250, and even bouncier than Larry Johnson, to be quite honest with you. First game of the season, he put somebody on a poster who tried to take a charge. That's a mistake. He's hitting threes. I think he's 11 for 21 from three thus far through the season. He is the clear-cut best player on the team. He knows he's the best player on the team. Orlando Magic fans know he's the best player on the team. Congrats to the great Jake Roy of 90s B-Ball Cards. You guys got two really good ones right here. Again, if we revisited this list in 2 years, maybe 4 years, they are not going to be 14th on this list. That much I am sure of. So a tremendous amount of potential for the Orlando Magic. And they've got other good pieces around them. Jalen Suggs, let's wait and see. Cole Anthony showed flashes. Let's wait and see. RJ Hampton is sneaking around. Fultz needs to come back. Wendell Carter has become a serviceable big man, sort of a young Al Horford type. Let's see if he develops. So these two are nice. The Orlando Magic have some things going. They're just not enough experience now. So I've got them at 14. Who's number 13 on the list? One more. This is going to get some ire from the people that are watching. I've got Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle is, again, this is tough, right? Because they've done more than some of the people that we're about to get to, but have they really in the win column? I mean, Jalen Brunson, we're still waiting to see. This is the first time he's really going to truly be unleashed as a starter in the NBA. You may be wondering, where's RJ Barrett? Well, he's not on here because he's one of the most inefficient players in the entire NBA. I think he was maybe the 300th most efficient player or something like that. Just because you put up points, rebounds, and assists doesn't mean you're doing it in an efficient way. So I think it's clearly Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson here as the alpha and the beta. I probably have them reversed. An argument can be made that Jalen's really the star of the show, and that Julius Randle's a sidekick. I don't know. I've got Julius Randle's 2014 Prism base card pulled up. Pretty boring card, but I like 2014 Prism. And then I've got Jalen Brunson's 2018 Prism silver card. Nobody can not recognize that 2018 Prism silver set because that was the focal point of the incredible hobby boom that we experienced in 2018, 19, and 20 when prices got exorbitantly high, even for that Jalen Brunson card. So let me know in the comments if you think RJ Barrett's a better player than either one of these guys. That would be news to me. I don't share your opinion, but I welcome any and all input from the guys watching and gals watching this show. Next on our list, and this is why people are going to bitch. They're going to say Haliburton and Miles Turner are not better than Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Honestly, I think they are. I think Haliburton is better than Brunson, and I think Miles Turner is a better NBA player and a more valuable NBA player than Julius Randle. If you assigned a trade value to these players and you asked the 30 NBA GMs, I think 30 for 30, each NBA GM would prefer Haliburton over Brunson and would prefer Miles Turner over Julius Randle. I just do. I've got any question marks, Hield or Mathurin. I don't think Hield is as good as either one of these players. I don't think anybody would argue with that. I just wanted to mention him just in case. Mathurin one day could possibly supplant Miles Turner as the second best player on this team and maybe even be better than Haliburton. We've seen a really, really good start to the season for Mathurin. He's probably a top 3 Rookie of the Year candidate after this tiny little 4 or 5 game sample size that we've seen. Right now it's Banchero's Rookie of the Year to lose, and then I think Mathurin is right there with him. We want to see more of Keegan Murray. We want to see if Jaden Ivey can develop. All of those guys have the two things that they need, which is minutes and then opportunity to put up shots and get buckets. All of those guys are top 3 players for their team, so they should all get some pretty big minutes and have a chance to prove themselves in the NBA early in their rookie season. Who do we have? Who do I have at number 11? I'm not running from it. I've got LaMelo Ball. I've got his Hyper Prism from 2020 pulled up. Remember those Hyper Prisms? Very low pop. Impossible to grade. Even this PSA 10, as you can see on your screen, refractor lines all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason to what PSA is doing with the Hyper Prism cards, dating all the way back to 2018. There's refractor lines everywhere. I see some with refractor lines that get 8s, and I see some with refractor lines that get 10s. So are they ignoring it? Are the graders not on the same page as far as what the rules are regarding those refractor lines? Hell if I know, but I've got LaMelo Ball's Hyper Prism on there, and then I had to choose, Terry Rozier or Hayward, whatever. It's what and what, as we say in Louisiana. Pick one, doesn't matter to me. Either way, I'd still have them ranked about here. Rozier and Hayward are both much better than average, NBA starters, but they're not super mega stars, like some of these combos, some of these duos that we're about to see as we crawl towards our top 5. LaMelo is just so much better than anybody I've mentioned on this list. And again, he's out. He's banged up a little bit, so he's going to sit. I think maybe they said the first 14 to 18 games of the season, so about 4 to 5 weeks he'll be out. Hopefully, when he comes back, he comes back 100%. Terry Rozier is just, he's a great player, man. Scary Terry, he's probably better suited to be that guy, that Jordan Clarkson that comes off the bench as your 6th man and destroys second units playing that combo guard position. But right now, due to injuries and injury to LaMelo Ball, he's playing the point and doing a great job for the Hornets. Just a really good player, man. He's a really good basketball player. And Gordon Hayward could have been the beta here, but neither one of them are that sexy to talk about. I've got Terry Rozier's rookie Panini Select pulled up on your screen from the year 2015. People forget he's in his 8th year in the NBA. Gosh, it seems like he just got here out of the University of Louisville. But he was sort of the little small combo guard precursor to Donovan Mitchell, right? Both University of Louisville grads. So that's who I've got. The Charlotte Hornets. Again, we're ranking the 2 best, not the team, right? If we're ranking the teams, the Charlotte Hornets would be way down on the list because I don't think they're very good. And it could be a while. Let's see. Number 10 on our list. I've got Beal and Porzingis. This may seem a little bit low. Part of this hinges on my uncertainty regarding Porzingis' ability to contribute for an entire NBA season. I've got Beal's 2012 Prism Silver pulled up in PSA 10 condition. You guys know how much I love 2012 Prism. That Bradley Beal, I'm going to look it up real quick on this side screen. 2012. Let's look it up on Card Ladder real quick. That's a pop. Golly, that's a pop 27 card, guys. Again, I've said this ad nauseum on my channel. Please, 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 please do not confuse 2012, 13, and 14 Prism Silver gems with 2018, 19, and 20 Prism Silver gem rookie cards. They are like apples and oranges. They're like apples and lawnmowers. It's not even in the same conversation. It's preposterous. Apples and lawnmowers. That's copyrighted Cajun Cardboard today, October 29th. Nobody else can use that. Apples and lawnmowers. And then I've got the 2015 Prism Red, White, and Blue. Back when I think Red, White, and Blue is actually cool looking, right? Unlike the 2018 Red, White, and Blue, which looks like a barbershop pole, I thought Red, White, and Blue looked really good way back then in 2015. And you've got the young Porzingis there. Nobody can forget Porzingis exploding onto the stage in New York, getting booed at the draft because people had no clue who this weird alien-looking 7'3" guy was, and then he just kind of took the Eastern Conference by storm. New York fell in love with him, and then they fell out of love with him really quickly because he could not stay on the court. A lot of it is fluke injuries, but when there's injury after injury after injury, guys get that tag as being injury-prone. So Beal and Porzingis. I've got Kuzma in question mark because, honestly, the argument could be made Kuzma's more dependable. Kuzma might be better than Porzingis. He's not better than Beal. I think Beal's probably the best player on the list that we've gotten to on any of these teams so far. But I've got Porzingis on here instead of Kuzma. You don't have to argue much for me to switch out Porzingis and put Kuzma in there. I think it's it's this or that. It's one way or the other. We could go either direction on that. Let me know in the comments. Obviously as a GM, I think most people would prefer Porzingis, but as a fan of the Wizards, Kuzma's going to be there and play 75 games. Porzingis, I don't know about that. We never know. But Porzingis just has a different skill set than Kuzma, so I've got Porzingis in there. But he could go either way. Number 9, we're in our top 10 here. PASCAL, SIAKAM, and Fred VanVleet. I've got Barnes in question mark. You really don't have to twist my arm to put Scotty Barnes in here instead of Fred VanVleet. Again, Fred VanVleet falls next in line of those little dumpy point guards for Toronto that somehow seem to overachieve and sniff all-star teams, right, following in the footsteps of his mentor, Kyle Lowry. I like Fred VanVleet. I had him on my fantasy team. He's one of those guys that can get you 35, and then the next night he can get you 11 on 4 for 19 shooting. It's just unbelievable how unpredictable he is from the field. One night I'll have 7 threes, and the next night he will literally go 1 for 11 and not stop shooting. It was maddening to have this guy on my fantasy basketball team. He still finishes really high in the rankings on Fantasy Roto all the time because he does all the little things. He steals the ball and shoots the ball really well from the free throw line, and obviously he assists. But I've got Siakam as the alpha because I think right now, and I've talked about this, I think Barnes is the most talented player on the team, and I think that, after we get to the All-Star break, Barnes may step forward as the best player on this team. But I watched the Raptors play the other night, and I'm wondering, Nick Nurse needs to get some control of what's going on. I know there's this amorphous, nebulous, team full of switchable two-way guys with Achua and Boucher and Siakam and Anunoby and Barnes, and they just look like these tarantulas out there that just cover 90% of the court, and so they're a defensive problem. But here's my concern: Scotty Barnes took 6 shots the other night, and there were 7 players on his team that took more shots than him. That ain't okay. And he was 4 for 6. So it's not like he was 0 for 6. So that's not okay. Nick Nurse needs to get that under control. He's a great coach by all accounts. So I think he'll figure that out. I think Barnes won't stand for it because I've seen a little bit of dog in him. So I don't think he's going to sit by on the sidelines while these clowns like Gary Trent and OG Anunoby take his shots. It just doesn't make sense. If the Raptors want to win, Barnes needs to be their probably their second or third leading scorer at the very least. He does a great job of playing that point forward position. I can see a future where Scotty Barnes, sniffs an all-NBA team at some point. But I've got these 2 guys. I've got Siakam and VanVleet as the top 2 today. If you ask me 1 year from now, I doubt that I have this. In fact, I'd probably have Barnes as the best player on the team. He's already pushing for that role. But I've got PASCAL SIAKAM's 2016 Optic Holo, which was a pretty cool set, pretty popular set. Those are very low pop cards as well. And then I've got the Fred VanVleet. This is the ugly version of the red, white, and blue. So it's not like all red, white, and blues are beautiful or all red, white, and blues are ugly. We've seen 2 cards on here. One I think is really good looking. I think the Porzingis one looks good, how it fades from red to blue to white. And I love 2013 red, white, and blue, the first year of Prism red, white, and blue, which was Giannis's rookie year. I think those are gorgeous, and they actually have 2 red, white, and they have a blue, white, and red, and a red, white, and blue. They got the Pulsar, and then they've got the I just went blank, Monster Box. So they've got 2 red, white, and blues from 2013. But this is the ugliest version, in my opinion, by far. 2019 is another good version of red, white, and blue that you guys may want to check out from Prism. So I've got Siakam and VanVleet right there at number 9. All right, we're in almost to our top half. This is the middle team. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. And you're like, damn, man. That's 2 nasty players right there. That's 2 guys that are almost, always in the conversation for all NBA teams, and they're all-star type players. You're right, they are. But when we get to the top 7, you're going to see every combo going forward. The East is filthy this year, y'all. I think they've surpassed the West as far as depth and the quality at the top of the conference as far as who can win this thing. Part of that's just I'm not a huge believer in the Clippers. I think the Warriors are the cream of the NBA, the cream of the crop. But I'm just not a huge believer in the Clippers. I don't know what Vegas is doing with those odds, but I think there's 4 teams in the East that are more likely to win the title than the Clippers in the West. That's just me. We will see how it plays out. We are 5 games into the season, so anything can happen. I've got Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo's cards on the screen. I don't think Tyler Hero is really in the conversation for being the second best. He just now got the starting role. He's a little more one-dimensional than both of these guys. And again, if you polled the NBA GMs, and I think if you polled most people who really know basketball, I think they would all agree he's not as sexy. Bam Adebayo is not as exciting, exhilarating of a player to watch as Tyler Hero, who can do some things that are YouTube worthy. But Bam Adebayo does so much for your basketball team. Again, his offense just has not taken that huge step forward that we thought it would, but still an elite defender, a switchable big who can play drop coverage and guard, pretty well when he has to switch onto a small. Great shot blocker, just big, strong, physical guy. People don't realize he's as big as Dwight Howard. I mean, he's a big dude, right? And then you got Jimmy Butler, who's just been doing it and doing it and doing it. So I've got his 2012 green prism, super low pop cards, those 2012 green prisms, and then Bam Adebayo's 2017 silver prism. 2017, despite the fact that I collected De'Aaron Fox and invested in De'Aaron Fox and Donovan Mitchell and did pretty well on those cards. I wish I'd invested in Tatum a little bit harder than I did. Made a little bit of money back then. I should have held or just invested a little bit heavier in Tatum, but I really liked Jaylen Brown, so I was almost, from the jump, I was almost a Tatum hater just because I wanted Jaylen to flourish, and I felt like Tatum was suppressing him. But now we see both of them flourishing as, again, we're about to get to them on the list. I don't want to spoil it, but they're on the list. They're coming up. They'll be a hot topic of contention after you watch this video as well. Butler and Adebayo, the Miami Heat, I have got them on my list at number 8. Who's number 7? Top half, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. It could be argued that Butler and Adebayo should be ahead of them. That's fine. I get it. I won't argue with you. It could also be argued that Nikola Vucevic should be on here instead of Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. This is probably the pairing where the players are the closest in ability. Like where if you said who's better, DeRozan or LaVine, it would be a toss-up, man. I would have said LaVine all day long going into last season, but DeMar DeRozan's season with the Bulls last year was just absolutely ridiculous. It was timely. He dominated fourth quarters. I think for the first time ever, he hit back-to-back game-winning true buzzer beaters, which has never happened in the NBA. He was the rock for that Chicago Bulls team. Again, completely derailed due to injuries. And so all the Bulls fans out there keep singing the same tune. We don't know yet, right? We got to let this group play. And here we are again, man. And Lonzo Ball's out. He's the engine. He's the guy. He's the motor. He's the team that, he's their true point. He makes the team go. Right now, Ayo Dosunmu's having to play the point. That's not really a role he's ready to do. He's playing okay. He's a good defender, a good all-around player. But I'd like to see Dosunmu coming off the bench as their sixth man with Kobe White. That's a really good backcourt pairing for your bench. If it was Kobe and Ayo coming off the bench, that's a really cool backcourt right there. But I've got DeRozan and LaVine here with the Bulls at my spot number 7 on the list. Number 6 on the list, we have got Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. I've seen enough in 5 games to admit and raise my hand and say, they can figure it out. They have figured it out. They can play together, man. Part of that is they've got other good players on their team with John Collins and Capella and DeAndre Hunter. They've got some other good players on this team. So Trae Young, I've got his 2018 Revolution card where he's going up off 2 feet to dunk this ball behind his head. We know Trae Young can do that. He just chooses not to, right, at 5'3". And then DeJounte Murray's 2016 Prism Silver. I'll tell you a little story of regret in the hobby. I was really big on DeJounte Murray when he came out. Really, really big. I'd read about Jamal Crawford saying some things about him. He checked all of the boxes that I look for in prospecting, except he wasn't a real proficient offensive player at the time. He was an elite defensive player from the jump. Everybody knew that, and that was part of the reason the Spurs took him. And he had a good basketball IQ. But we didn't know if his shot was going to come around. Was not a very good shooter when he first came into the league. And he's another example of give it a little bit of time, people. Don't give up on your prospects too soon. This is a lesson for you. I probably bought, and this was back when base Prism was okay, so don't flame me in the comments. This was literally, I was buying these back in early 2016, back when Prism actually came out during the player's rookie year, probably first week of December. I probably bought 145 DeJounte Murray base Prisms, 150 maybe, at about $3 each, and then I was buying his silvers at maybe $8 to $10 each, if I had to remember. And I bought about 35, 40 silvers, and I bought about 150 base. And then, after the ACL injury, I sold them for pretty much what I bought them for. So lesson learned, right? There was a hell of a lot of profit, even after this dip we've experienced the last year, year and a half. Man, if I was sitting on 40 DeJounte Murray, silver prism PSA 10s, what would that be worth? Actually, let me look him up. This is going to make me feel awful. I'm sorry. I'm looking it up while I'm doing this. This is very unprofessional and a little bit choppy, but that's a $381 card. It's a pop 138, and I had about 40 of them. So what a screw up. Even if PSA would have kicked me in the nuts and given me, 30%, PSA 10s and 70% PSA 9s, I still would have crushed it. The PSA 10 is worth $381 in this down market. So I sold them all for about 10 to 15 bucks each. I probably just did a little bit better than breaking even. I was so heavy into Simons at the time and De'Aaron Fox and all that when he tore his ACL, I was like, you know what? I can get my money back from this Spurs. There was a big Spurs collector, and I sold all of them to him. So I thought he was doing me a favor, but in hindsight, he robbed me. So congrats. I don't even remember who it was, but congrats to whoever pilfered and took $5,000 out of my pocket from all those DeJounte Murray cards, or $10,000 or however much. Who knows? Next on the list, I've got the. Yeah, next on the list, what is this number? Yeah, number 5, sorry. Okay, so I've got Donovan Mitchell. I've got his fast break prism on the left and newly acquired by the Cleveland Cavaliers from the wholesale fire sale that the Utah Jazz went through in the offseason where they moved Bogdanovich, they moved Rudy Gobert for 800 trillion picks and prospects, which congrats Danny Ainge. I still think they got the better of that. I don't know how big a window Rudy Gobert has, but we'll see how it pans out this year with the Timberwolves. And then they moved Donovan Mitchell, right? The focal point in the centerpiece of that Utah Jazz franchise from the day that they drafted him out of the University of Louisville. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell followed in the footsteps of another little combo guard named Terry Rozier at University of Louisville. So we got his fast break prism rookie card from 2017 pulled up. And then we've got the, I went ahead and put the, I wanted to do some different cards. So I went ahead and pulled the the Panini Hoops Arriving Now Holo version of Darius Garland, which I think is a really good looking card. It looks like it's got a blemish in the middle, man. Maybe that's just a bad scan, but I think it's a good looking card, notwithstanding what's apparently some black blemishes on the card. Not a valuable card at all, of course. Let me just be real clear about that. But Garland and Mitchell form a formidable backcourt. Unfortunately, we got robbed on the very first game of the season, or maybe it was the second game, I can't remember, where somebody reached in and scratched the living goodness out of Darius Garland's eye. So he's been on the bench with sunglasses for a few games here. We still haven't gotten to see the peak powers of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've gotten to see the peak powers of this guy on the left, Donovan Mitchell. And I've got them ahead. I think DeJounte Murray and Garland are pretty similar players. I think Mitchell right now is a little bit better player than Trae Young. Yeah, I know in the hobby, he's not as popular as Trae Young, probably, but this was another one where, like, look, if you want to argue with me that DeRozan, Levine, Trae Young, and DeJounte, and Garland and Donovan Mitchell need to be flip-flopped, I can't argue with you, right? But I had to put them in some order. That's the order I put them in. I think of all those players we just named, I think right now Donovan Mitchell's better than DeRozan, Levine, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, and Garland. That's just my personal opinion. But again, you don't have to twist my arm. There are arguments to be made for any of those other guys being the best out of those 6 that I just mentioned. But I've got them here. We haven't got a chance to see how they fit together, right? They're 2 teeny tiny little dudes in the backcourt. So we'll see, if Jarrett Allen and Isaac Okoro and Karis LeVert, who's a decent defender and a really good, 5th wheel. Hell, he's a really good 5th best player on your team, and he's balling out right now in the absence of Garland. And Evan Mobley can cover up some of the perimeter defensive deficiencies that are likely to result with Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland playing on the court at the same time. Again, we'll also see if Donovan Mitchell can defer a little bit to Darius Garland and share some of that usage and let Darius Garland make the game a little bit easier for Donovan Mitchell. If there's one thing I can say about Donovan Mitchell thus far in his career is that he sometimes makes the game real difficult because when he's got the ball in ISO situations, you got 5 other guys on the court staring at you on the defensive team. Garland can make the game easier. Garland was an absolute puppet master last year and had a huge breakout season and got rich because of it. So those 2 guys, I've got them primed right there at my number 5 position. All right, we're down to the final 4. Have you guys kind of thought to yourselves who would be your top 4? Here's mine. And this is where, things can start to get contentious, and hopefully people can comment and let me know why you think I'm wrong. Again, a lot of these are not set in stone, and a lot of these were miserable and caused anxiety. This is one of them. Man, look, I know they went to the finals. I got Tatum and Brown here. And again, before you get too upset about it, let's wait and see who's at 1, 2, and 3. I got Tatum and Brown number 4. I chose this Jason Tatum status card because I really like those cards, man. I think they look really cool. If there's a card that you, if you're looking for a unique card in the ultra modern hobby, go look at the Status Pursuit die cut. Those are very low pop and really, really cool cards. I've got a Anthony Simons Status die cut PSA 10 Pop 1. They're very intricately die cut, very unique cards. Status is a really cool product. I think you guys will like it. Go check it out. Again, I'm not hyping Status. I got a few cards in my collection. It's not like I'm pumping and dumping Status cards, but if you're looking for something different than Prism Select, Optic, National Treasures, Flawless Art, Immaculate, go check out Status. It's a really cool product out there. And the boxes, maybe not 2017, but some of the boxes are actually really affordable, really fun rips. And then I've got Optic Holo 2016 Jaylen Brown rookie card, PSA 10 next to him. So those two guys are the best 1-2 wing combination in the league. They're, DEMAR, DEROZAN, and Levine are sort of a poor man's Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think Tatum has emerged as the alpha, but Jaylen Brown might be one of the best betas in the entire NBA. We'll see as we get through this list and we get to our top 3. But I've got the Boston Celtics at number 4 with that duo. What makes the Celtics so special is the way they fit together. What used to be a concern with Tatum and Brown playing, where they would just take turns and the chemistry was a little bit off, I see that being resolved. Obviously, in that run to the finals last year where they beat everybody who was missing their best players, asterisk on that finals appearance, they did figure out how to play together. So Boston is number 4 right there with Tatum and Brown. Number 3, I've got Joel Embiid and James Harden. And this is where, you could choose the young folks that we just looked at with Tatum and Brown over these two guys. I wouldn't hate you for it. And it was something I had to deliberate about doing because, we've seen these two guys on this screen fold. And James Harden primarily many times over and over in the playoffs. And it looked like, Tatum carried his team through every, round of the playoffs last year. And then Jaylen Brown went absolutely bananas. I mean, he would have been the finals MVP if Boston would have somehow figured out how to win the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors. But Steph Curry was having none of it, and he played freaking out of this world. But Jaylen Brown had a hellacious final series. So I could see the argument that Tatum and Brown should be ahead of these guys. I've got Joel Embiid's 2014 Prism Light Blue pulled up on your screen. Low pop card, sort of a color match. Just a really cool looking card in my opinion. And then I've got James Harden, a little cheap card here. Shout out to the Ryan of Scott, who's a good friend of mine here in Baton Rouge. He's putting together this 2018 high voltage set. I think this is a really cool looking insert. It's worth absolutely pennies, of course, especially the James Harden, but it's Luka Doncic's rookie year insert, and it's still, it's a really, really cheap card. I think it's a good looking card. Check it out. NBA Hoops high voltage from 2018, and I think they've made 2019 and 20 and all that stuff high voltage as well, but I think it's a good looking card. Again, there's also a 1990s, sorry, I'm going to nerd out from the 90s. Go look up the 1990s high voltage and high voltage 500. Just search high voltage Michael Jordan, and you'll see an incredible looking 90s insert. And then the high voltage 500 is obviously numbered to 500. That would be a parallel insert from the 90s. An incredibly valuable card, a 5-figure card for sure in any grade. All right, here we go. Now we got number 2 on the list. And as much as it pains me because I'm not a huge fan, I'm trying to think with my head and not my heart. And by showing you number 2, you have obviously concluded who number 1 is. This was tough, right? So again, I'm sitting here telling you I chose with my head over my heart, but I put them number 2 instead of number 1. They've been killing it so far. The Nets still got a lot to figure out. They don't have enough right now. I'm guessing there might be some trades in the work, but you also got to remember Steph Curry's out and Joe Harris is out, and those two guys are going to come back soon. I think Joe Harris played one game and then sat the last one maybe for load management, so they're going to work him back in. Steph Curry is not far away. And then people have completely forgot that TJ Warren is a 20-point per game scorer in the NBA. Now, I don't know if he's going to come back 100%, the same TJ Warren that we saw once in Indiana when he was, a super fantastic third best player on that team. But they're missing some good players. Ben Simmons has got to figure out how to matter on the court without shooting the ball, because he's shown his stubbornness is unparalleled. He simply is not going to shoot the ball. So the problem right now with Ben Simmons is he's not really rebounding the ball, and he's really honestly not helping the team win or playing good defense, because he got destroyed by Zion Williamson. And then Luka Doncic pissed all over him and was trying to seek him out and switch, so he was guarding him on pick and rolls. So that's not the Ben Simmons that was a first team All NBA, All Defensive player, and an All NBA player. So the Nets have a lot to figure out, but we're talking about these two absolute studs on offense, right? Two of the guys that score the ball, maybe 20 of the easiest scorers in the history of NBA basketball. Kevin Durant's probably one of the 2 or 3 easiest scorers of the basketball that I have ever seen, certainly in my lifetime. So I've got Kyrie Irving's Aurora Court Kings insert pulled up in PSA 10. Isn't that a really good looking card? It's probably not very expensive because there's not a lot of Kyrie collectors because he's weird as hell. And then I've got Kevin Durant's Black Refractor on the screen as well. That's a good looking card. People forget about that finest product from Kevin Durant's rookie year, but I think that's a really good looking card as well. So Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I've got them at number 2 on the list, which again, man, 4-3-2-1 was tough, but at number 1, I've got none other than the Milwaukee Bucks. And look, Middleton's out, but you guys got to remember, Middleton's a 3-time All-Star. I think it's 3-time All-Star. I've got his 2012 Prism pulled up, of course, because that's the year that I like. And then I've got Giannis and his 2013 Green Prism pulled up. Middleton's a 3-time All-Star. Middleton's been there and done that. Middleton's a fourth quarter closer. Middleton's got a title. Everything Kyrie Irving does or has done, Middleton's doing it, only he's not injured nearly as much. Now, I know it's funny to say that because he's injured right now, but he's supposed to be back in the next few games. And when you pair him with the guy that I think is far and away, not even close, clear-cut, the best player in the world right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's just too much, right? And so this pairing here, this combination of Giannis and Chris Middleton may not be as balanced as Embiid and Harden, Tatum and Brown, and Durant and Irving. But I personally think as a two-way player, Giannis impacts the game and is so significantly better than anybody in the top 8 or any of the other 7 in the top 8 that we just looked at, that I give the Bucks the number 1 nod. And again, I am not objective, and I've always told you I'll be very transparent on this channel. So if you want to call me names in the comments because I'm a homer and a humongous Bucks fan, you are welcome to do so. But tell me why you think Embiid or Harden, Tatum or Brown, or Kyrie and Kevin Durant are number 1. Let me know. Don't just say they're number 1. Tell me why they're number 1. I love this, right? That's what I want with this channel. That's what I want. I want people to watch these videos. I want people to get sort of pissed, but not too pissed, because I usually try to qualify my decisions and my lists and things like this. And I'm a pretty open-minded dude. So if you say something that makes sense, I'm probably going to give you a lot of credit for it, because I really like the application of logic in the hobby and in the basketball analysis world, and there's not a lot of it. So let me know in the comments what you think. Where did I get it right? Where did I get it wrong? I don't think anybody could argue really that that 5, 6, or 7 belongs in the top 4. I think that we kind of got tiers here. 1 through 4 is pretty clear cut in some order, and I think 5, 6, 7's pretty clear cut in some order. And then after that, it's chaos, of course. But let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know about my list. I got the Bucks 1. I got the Nets 2, I got the Sixers 3, and I've got Tatum and Brown and the Celtics at 4. Let me know what your top 4 are, and let me know why I'm nuts. As always, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you watching the channel. I'm getting tons of views of people that aren't subscribed. Help me out. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the bell icon if you want to get notifications of new videos. Do me a favor, go check out my playlist. I've got like 10 or 12 playlists where you can like hand pick, like you're going to a fat guy at a buffet, and you can pick and choose whatever types of videos you want. These videos that you just watched may not appeal to you, and if they don't, go check my Michael Jordan playlist. Go check my Explore the Card playlist. Go check the box ripping playlist. Go check the PSA grade reveal playlist. Lots of different playlists out there. So I'm trying to kind of spread my basketball stuff to where it kind of appeals to a little bit of different niches in the hobby. I always hate saying that word, niches in the hobby. I'm rambling now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Peace.